You will never be ashamed of the gospel. Today, Islam, Muslims who are supposed to be the followers of Allah, who are supposed to be the men who carry the word of Allah, are ashamed of Allah's word. The true gospel of Allah. We as Muslims, some of us in the NPP, because of money, you Allah, you to Allah chene and you disicate. Now the most interesting thing about this whole thing is say who study the echo about TrumuTrumu the way and the NPP4 kasa bebre Akuffo Addo you say TrumuTrumu naba he has to speak on fan insanshasia and the NPP4 me catch them some time back say about TrumuTrumu the way on the court the same way on the E-Levy court on the Ghana card court they know say Ghana for ye jiminti some person omo ye Ghana bonea the omo ye say omo de koma tokonu first omo de koma enini yeboa and the omo de koma tokonu. Akuffo Addo is the president of Ghana. Ye nyina akoshia parliament. Ye nyina MPs akoshia say this is what we want. Nana Danko Akuffo Addo today is saying say BBSC into ultimate fan and shase. Let us read Akuffo Addo's statement. The Akuffo Addo say original suntia ultimate fan and sa en shekratana say emma TrumuTrumu embe ye de haram e Ghana.
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo
Nana Danko Akuffo Addo akasa you say LGBTQ issue. Now America for so akasa.
Could I take you to Africa for a few?
Yeah.
Ghana, I know there was a statement that you issued last night on the anti-LGBTQ bill. Just to follow up on that, if my understanding is that the president, Akuffo Addo, hasn't signed it yet, are there talks with Ghana trying to stop this from becoming law? And if it comes to fruition, is there a sense of what the repercussions, if any, could be in the U.S.?
So we have made very clear what our opinion is on that law. You can look at my statement yesterday, and we have made that clear in private conversations with the government of Ghana as well. I don't think I should get any more specific than that, but if this bill becomes law, it would certainly have a chilling effect on foreign investment and tourism in Ghana. You've seen that same chilling effect bear fruit in Uganda, which passed a very similar law in the past. And I can say that should the bill pass, it would potentially have ramifications on U.S. assistance in the country.
Sure. Could I take you to Africa for a few?
Yeah.
Ghana, I know there was a statement that you issued last night on the anti-LGBTQ bill. Just to follow up on that, if my understanding is that the president, Akuffo Addo, hasn't signed it yet, are there talks with Ghana trying to stop this from becoming law? And if it comes to fruition, is there a sense of what the repercussions, if any, could be in the U.S.?
So we have made very clear what our opinion is on that law. You can look at my statement yesterday, and we have made that clear in private conversations with the government of Ghana as well. I don't think I should get any more specific than that, but if this bill becomes law, it would certainly have a chilling effect on foreign investment and tourism in Ghana. You've seen that same chilling effect bear fruit in Uganda, which passed a very similar law in the past. And I can say that should the bill pass, it would potentially have ramifications on U.S. assistance in the country.
Sure.
In the way America for Yura TrumuTrumu, MPP TrumuTrumu Assembly Remi, and I want to say this. Say Ghana for Eco Parliament and video I share near America for day na ya passe anti-LGBTQ Ghana for day imbrashebe jomfu nyina be shiaye. And remember, ya kase Ghana Parliament, it means say menewo yene ya Ghana nyina no yene yeyi enamsifo or representatives into the ene pese yeka yenye ya pese ya to adwene no yeyi yehu nipa ana omo musi anemu so omonko no monko kamaye enti se oya Ghana ni a ade bia be free parliament ababia no automatically no ye nyina Ghana for 275 constituencies e wo Ghana no ye na ye nyina kan adwuna bom ene se ye pe enti se Ghana parliament se nda omo nyina akohia ene omo se omo de mra bi aba na eye mra omo hu ni se ye ne ye soma omo so omonko no omo na ya dia ka chom so monko kani eno mko tena se koto so aba no dodo ne kire se we die eya ade a yanjintum. That means whatever comes out of parliament as a bill no, it is the representation of the people. Into your Ghana ni kra bang or your sofo or your Muslimi or your comfort or your president. I was say obia ejitum edisambra so. Yatia and Parliament ekoshem say eba TrumuTrumu a sebio eye Ghana fo nyina ye de ano asema abedum abesi baako ye nyina agege adwenkyere ye nyina ya tenase omamako school omamunko school asofo malamfo eye hwanhwan obia de na adwena ba na de ebesi nyina o Parliament ne say ye to so aba ye de kwa adwendwen mu no and the Ghana Parliament a represent Ghana fo nyina say eye TrumuTrumu ne de ye nyina yetia Ghana fo nyina tia enti e wo se Nana Addo Akuffo Addo ede ne nsa hyekrata na se na sebio de Ghana fo pe no onyama Ghana fo, that's all. Enti mema we nye complicated say kase bibi e bill a e menewo ade a yakotwendwene ho Parliament nipa ya to omoso aba se MP a omudi e de injinemu maye. Those who are representing us in Parliament, you know, they are representing our views, they are representing what we want. Enti parliamentarians ko shia na so munyina kase we ni agye atuma eye wo ne me ye ne etua to Ghana no. That is us, that is our reason, that is our conclusion, that is what we want. Enti ye kase bibi e bill a eye yene ene ye kotena ase ne say eye TrumuTrumu de Ghana yempe mo ka tina na Addo Akuffo Addo mo eba power no mo ka kire say Ghana beyond aid na Ghana beyond aid ni nyina ne say enya ade a ye be ma ye ho kwan ema broni bi atena ne krom a kire ye de enye na ono Akuffo Addo de tumi mana akwesi broni, whether you are British, American, European, wherever you are, you cannot dictate or decide for yene Ghana for. And these are some of the statements Akuffo Addo yeah na Ghana for ni bi ka say hey what dia obuahye what dia odwene Ghana ho nim nyansa wo nyansa bi obetumi ama Ghana anka say yes self sufficient sene be ya ye ni anka say betumi aboye bra enya ye sika aboye ho bra ema broni bi ntumi ntina ne krom en to threat anase en kan kire ye say ye gisa bibi say tuma ye ndidi a wo dia ye nim say wo dia adwuma pa ene nyansa wo ne ba obi amo wonti mo betumi afan ni way ema ye ni anka sa edi ye ho so as a sovereign nation. And no, ena ye jina so kati na Akuffo Addo bedi anim. Na ade wanwa esini ne say TrumuTrumu asemu ya say Ghana mra and the Parliament say ya jatum say eni se obia eye TrumuTrumu o Ghana no. And makachiremo, I'm saying this because the view of the people is what was in the bill. Bill na de come Akuffo Addo say on sign Ghana fo nyina de ye pe. And I'm de Akuffo Addo no. And yes, somebody's interest. Saying somebody's interest anka Nana Addo Akuffo Addo ke komano. Saying individual be interested anka one parliamentarian and to me enka say yen sign it. Say obi religious believer yenka yen to me fan Akuffo Addo. It is all of us, our collective decision to pass the anti-LGBTQ law in Ghana. Technically as I speak, wo ena wujitu say eye TrumuTrumu no yentia e wo Ghana enya me eye wo Ghana ni na wo hweme no wo nkremoni no wo Fulani no say Fulani for mo nya Ghana for wo ahunani no wo Akanni no wo Dagbani ni no wo Gurusini no mo ena mujitu mu ade kyen a Nana Addo Akuffo Addo America for etiom America say Samra na makoja tum e wo Ghana no ehun sunsanso de we anhwe ya yekuro no de ye bedi kura be ye den enso Akuffo Addo catch as Ghana beyond aid omotima chichire man to the point ye self sufficient ye den ende sa de we a anka wo say ye pretty simple president Eden Sasha asie na abedani asem wo Ghana ye sorry enda ye the finance minister ye Amin Adams ono so ye teni oye nkremoni enitina maka kire mo say eba eye ende Ghana yenuanum nkremofo ni bi eguye ni ma se papa. These Muslims, especially in this NPP way, no, they are a disgrace to the northern region and they are a disgrace to Muslims in Ghana. I'm telling you, every time they are NPP aban we be din kwasi asembia no sebio anye ceremonia eye nkrimonia or NPP mu onu na di anim anything last time busa say Mahamudu Bawumia na so ye nkrimonia o pese odi Ghana anim no eba TrumuTrumu an stance ne sen nkremofo mo Ghana nyina ye din obi ankasa Matisse, the office of the chief imam, put about 14 points of things that political parties are looking at. They could not specifically question Bawumia, who is also a Muslim, like the chief imam said. When it comes to TrumuTrumu, where does he stand? And the biggest office when it comes to Islam in Ghana, they cannot question Bawumia where his stance is. And I'm ashamed and disappointed in the office of the chief imam. I'm telling you, I am ashamed. As much as I respect the chief imam, and I respect him, and that respect will never go anywhere, but as a whole, as the office, I am ashamed and I'm embarrassed that the whole chief imam's office cannot issue a statement questioning Mahamudu Bawumia, who is a Muslim, where his stance are when it comes to LGBTQ issue in Ghana. I am ashamed and I'm embarrassed. And it is not supposed to be like this. We are all supposed to be principled. When we say we need to be principled, our principle is missing. The Islamic principle in Ghana is gone. There's no principle. What does the Islam and the peace religion represent in Ghana today? What do they represent? It is looking more like today, and the MPP, it does not represent truth again. But what I know deep down in my heart, Islam, which is a religion of peace, and Allah in his own wisdom, his messenger Muhammad, peace be unto him, the genuity and honesty he has used in protecting every single human being who is on earth, whether a Christian or a Muslim. I know that they still, or Allah still believes that Christians in Muslims in Ghana will never disgrace him. But today it's looking like Muslims, they have disowned Allah. They have disowned the principles of Allah. The Muslims in Ghana have disowned the word in the Quran. As we speak here today, the office of the chief imam and imams in Ghana cannot question Bawumia as a Muslim where he stands. They can't do it. And then another Muslim who is leading the finance ministry came out to say Ghana for parliament, say Akuffo Addo nensa shasia sika bi anka wo say yenya as a country sa sika ne yensanka. It is looking more like NPP Abawe led by Bawumia in Kremoni, Adams finance minister in Kremoni, they will choose money over Allah. This is clear example. It has gotten to the point where men who are supposed to serve Allah, who are supposed to be servant of Allah, are today choosing money over the principles. They are choosing money over the word of Allah. They are choosing money over their creator. It's a big haram. This is the biggest embarrassment and the biggest curse any man can inherit on this planet. Like a Muslim today defending money over Allah. What are the principles of Allah? What does Allah say when it comes to LGBTQ? What are your beliefs? Why can't you make a stand? But we get a Muslim today standing because of politics to tell Muslims and the world, we need money, we want money, and that we don't need the word of Allah. The word of Allah brought us here. And in the Bible and in the Quran, the word is Allah. So why are we neglecting the word today? That is why when you read the Bible, John said he will never be ashamed of the gospel. Today, Islam, Muslims who are supposed to be the followers of Allah, who are supposed to be the men who carry the word of Allah, are ashamed of Allah's word. The true gospel of Allah. We as Muslims, some of us in the NPP, because of money, now the most interesting thing about this whole thing is say who study the Xposes about TrumuTrumu the way and the MPP for Kasa Bebre Akuffo Addo. You say TrumuTrumu naba, he has to speak on fan and Sanshasia. And the MPP for me catch them some time back say about TrumuTrumu the way on the court. The same way on the E-Levy court. On the Ghana card court. They know say Ghana for ye Jiminti. Some person omo ye Ghana bonea. The omo ye say omo de koma tokonu. First omo de koma enini yeboa. And the omo de koma tokonu. Akuffo Addo is the president of Ghana. Ye nyina akoshia parliament. Ye nyina MPs akoshia say this is what we want. Nana Danko Akuffo Addo today is saying say BBSC into Ontumi Fanensa and Shasia. Let us read Akuffo Addo statement. The Akuffo Addo say Ojina Suntia Ontumi Fanensa and Shekratana say Emma TrumuTrumu and Beye de Haram e Ghana. Mamenkan the Akuffo Addo e katre and Dana dream. President Akuffo Addo on anti-LGBTQ bill. This is Akuffo Addo and I quote, I am aware that last week's bipartisan passage by Parliament of the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill on a private member's motion has raised considerable anxieties in certain quarters of the diplomatic community and amongst some friends of Ghana that she may be turning her back on her. It's also enviable long-standing record on human rights observance and attachment to the rule of law. I want to assure you that no such backsliding will be contemplated or occasioned. Or say, now what you mean? What say a year Parliament MPP ni NDC for you committee boom. Amende omo de embrabi abeto se eye TrumuTrumu eye Ghana for omusi oma name Parliament no oma gye atumu se TrumuTrumu de e wo se embra etia e wo Ghana na emom no de wasatete se eye Ghana for nyonkofo a omo ya abrofo ewo Europe America ewiase afa na nyina ye ni omudi insawoso no wehu se eye abrofo no se eye embra ya ye gya tumi no embra ne embra bi a ebema den eye nipa fa ahodie ene nipa sebio na motena ye a eho eye krogen no ebe tietia nipa fa ahodie so ye ka no human right, fundamental human right no ose wate se abrofo no America for no UK for no kasa omom ne yedi dwuma bom no kasa se sambra no ono Akuffo Addo ne nsa hya ase a ebema nipa fa ahodie so no ebe say ye tietia so na Akuffo Addo ne say asem omo kan de ni ngira so efi say Ghana de ye nyina enim say nipa fa ahodie ene say ne bebo nipa ho ban ne de eya de da yakoma so na oman we oman a ya adwene say ye ntietie nipa fa ahodie so yenko enim. I think it will serve little purpose to go at this stage. Sorry, I think it will serve little purpose to go at this stage into the details of the origin of this proposal law, which is yet to reach my desk. Or see, baby, I dream pempenso I dream. On person be kasache, on person be twin samaba, on person sebio eye adia yakata so be so. On person ko mininis any insambia emu onwirim emu nyam ewo mu no on person ode ne nsabeka na emom no de obeka ne se eye emra we ya ye kan wasam say Parliament agiatum say TrumuTrumu de yenji TrumuTrumu yenji emrantum na entia no ose ono kra de ne desk otena ho Jubilee House obi amfa mre no ose nani kosie ehu bi say bojimi ne Nicaragua fo asofo eye ahemfo akese a na 2014 mu ye campaign o Ghana from Asantimemu to Nkramemu to eye Homemu to eye Boko to Babiano or say sa TrumuTrumu na Parliament eka se omo de mbrabia ba na etia no se ono Akuffo Addo agove achichide ba tan ohumpo emedru ne desk so ohun just ohun frama samwe jimi Nicaragua fo mi chirechirem okore ni mo say but o se nanso but Bronica se bata o se nanso but suffice is to say that I have learned that today a challenge has been mounted at the proposed legislation. I see. Even though sa emrana Parliament share ye nyina MPs kotena Parliament ka say TrumuTrumu ye nyina mfa nkoma president on san ase na ye njintum se enya de pa na wo ya ye emrana ubedi no. I see. Onu podi ohun mpo until ho asem endru ne table so na dia what ne say or say, dear what in the say, but suffice is to say that I have learned that today a challenge has been mounted at the Supreme Court by a concerned citizen to the constitutionality of the proposed legislation. Or see, but dear what in the say, Ghana ni bio, onim ne da, on shia ne da, onim baby mpa Ghana ni free. Ghana ni the assembly in a Supreme Court. One, or say assemble on who ye. Emeda ne desk so until wasem TrumuTrumu na ya to parliament say yentwam mmara na ya share parliament say mema obi aje TrumuTrumu Ghana no Akuffo so no ye president mponte ye eni ne desk so na mbom de watene say Ghana ni bi ono hu ne da oni me bi ofri oni me maame say sa TrumuTrumu mmara na ya aje to Ghana say eni say ekoso wo ya mmara tia no o say Ghana ni bi say etia edien ye kabi mami kabi ene ye edien ye fa ahudie mmara ebo ye ho ban ye constitution no Ghana ni bi say or the court ama court a chirem inti eno na wate ya pass of parliament wante or say embedu ne desk so na so dey see the wate say obi the Supreme Court. Now mami jujum, in the circumstances it will be as well for all of us to hold our hands and await the decision of the courts before any action is taken. Or see, in tenmenum hayandie, or say Ghana for yina yenso yensa odom na yenum nso twan ope. Enkopim se court be dia tum ne de one de odi obey. Or see, imprempren ya de yenkutakuta yensem yenfo nuado yensresre. Over time also can they also yeah and the on team was a baby desk so na many mum dear asem copy Supreme Court na ye ne Ghana for ye sora no pa ne asoso yensem ye de odo asoso yensem na ya num nsuo ntwan ope ekopem say ono no Supreme Court judge na oyi no Justice Tokonu na onim the reason why you try Ghana passport to no onim why somebody can use a passport or say yen twan no Madam Tokonu no Supreme Court na otna Supreme Court e ka che Ghana for say mema Jemensa embetna eye Supreme Court enchire the win election or say yen twen na sa maame na yen ja asam ne maame no okore nim no say the operation of the institutions of the Ghanaian state will determine the future trajectory of the rule of law and human rights compliance in our country. I say Ghana mra na be kire Embra ebo Ghana ho ban eye enjumaku a ye de Ghana mra esi omo na aso no omo na yenhwe omonim na omo nhwe enhwehwem enya abotre empensempensemu se eye sa mra na parliament agya tum se eni se obi aye TrumuTrumu Ghana no e wo se agitum ana se eni se agitum ana se e wo se ono no ode ne nsa e hya ase enti de Akuffo Addo kan nyina no se obo ne tofa o se emra na omo kwa ne parliament no no nten ho asem obian fambra bia metu nenim de watene se obi de court enti yantwan na court ni nya na dwuma nwie ono de onfa ne nsa nhase ne enfa ne nsa hye nhase ochra se obo na asem nyina tofa na na adodan ko Akuffo Addo no ba omi ase anti-LGBTQ eya bill na parliament pass ye no o se onfa ne nsa nhase so obi te brofo chan me a on fa de we no kasa Kevin Taylor twantro enchirechiremu na ochirechiremu no oboa so wo born tofa bro this when you want to summarize what I said to you or say embra no mo share no krampo no one te obi ampo amfa mbre ne se on sign and a two what say obi the court enti ama Ghana court no any institutions are edin dwuma no enya ho adwuma for now no de onfa ne nsa bia nhye krata bia se na unim de ya wasem we nyina mu o ka asem we wie no na Peace Council for ebusa o say na mo so TrumuTrumu asaba ba ya se Akuffo Addo fa ne nsa nhase Peace Council wo kwa yo Mozambique asofo mpanifo na wo ho e Christopher asofo mpanifo na wo ho eye Ghana ahemfo ho Ghana edien eye nipa hu titru na wo Peace Council omo no mo se Ghana nyina nyansa na omo tim na wo se eye winter ba ebufuo ba omo no moto Ghana omo na Ghana de amamre ne amane omo bo ho ban omo bo de ya peace anase ya fa ahodie ho ban omo kasa ne omo nyansa na kekere man no nti omo na ye Ghana nyansa fo ye busam se bobo Peace Council for bibia betumi de ntokwa ba asembia ba franka asiso inti assembly so ncha assembly moso mu ye mpanifo mo ye Ghana fo mo ma o Ghana mo yere no mo Ghana mo ginagina nsori anim moso mo ye Ghana fo na mo adwene kire ewo eye anti-LGBTQ embrace parliament pass no mo adwene kire ne sen almost say we don't have a position on the passage of the anti-LGBTQI bill because we are mediators. We don't take sides on issues like this. Almost say, oh, yeah, dear. No crepa bet makacha say anti-LGBTQ TrumuTrumu parliament pass ya e was say Akuffo Addo sign na you make sure say enyembra organ almost say peace can say ye ni hu biaka ye de ye bet makacha say ye ni hu adwene bia na some tia say ye de entokosia na ye ba pata ye de dwumadie no sa dwumadie we bi de ye nka ho asem ye Ghana fo mum ye kwa asori ye Christofo ye ne nim nyansa ye ne solve problems almost oh but about we dia ye ne nka bi ye de ye peace council for ye de ye dingine mu enti say ye begia tumo ye ngie ntumo mo de omo nkasa peace council we a peace council we muni mpenifo a se ade we ba na se bia ye kobu obi kuno se asimesi bi se ya pass mra na ye hu se asimesi bi ni be ma bi nam o makosha dam nti o mo practice TrumuTrumu nti enkobu omu nku omo na e wo se ye nya panyini bi beka se we nkyere se o mo ye gays nti enkobu omu nku no o mo se o si ade o mo ni adwene ye ntwen me ka kire mo se MPP fo asai Ghana panyini ni Ghana biem se bi o mpanifo Ghana kuma bi nanim nyansa mo dwene Ghana ho impenifo dodo mo Ghana Akuffo Addo ne baomia asai omo inti sa okọ parliament a afenyo markina ende ne girlfriend enua bema molest obi ba wedi 3 years no afenyo markin say I don't mind if the people of Efutu vote against me because of my stance on the matter. Afenyo markin say asem no e wo say eye TrumuTrumu emra na ogina parliament mo share no waba bontra beka say already otia sa mra no o say omo to abama no be ye afenyo markin ende abenya eye majority leader aye or say TrumuTrumu a on support say yemba na nti senkofo be twetie na omfo mkwase anko no muntu ntia no otenkran ena o ka kire futufo say omonim ye hare omo ahemfo ene omo asofo ene nkofo bugu afutuo so omo ye nkwaseafo so omo pese omo tutia na omo ntuntia no omo ye moa afenyo markings and the messenger because of TrumuTrumu a all catch Ghana for say and then no TrumuTrumu no abe ye pese ye tia no so no de ontia na se afutu fo no moto abama no so omo ntia se omo fom kwase antena omo ntuntia no afenyo marking asama ogina parliament e ka kire mo afe wo hu de ade ne ko afe you see where we are heading. Debia me say parliament ye pass law e Ghana fo nyina na yaka etia bom enti adan na mo president no say yaka etia bom say BBC adan na person be ye ma catch them from day one. These people are not in power because of you. I have told you from day one. Sanko for and the Oko Parliament akutie afenyo marking or kasamuntie no or see oh asemwe yemfanko court me engine to make Akuffo Addo sign afenyo marking no or see some run on what count on G2 more parliament no wadane no haba bonte say oh yemfanko court and sana court in here say anti-LGBTQ bill no e was say ye man ye eye den eye emra Ghana mratia afenyo marking muntie no
that the issues that members of parliament led by my good self raised ought to be tested by the Supreme Court of the law of the land. I mean, we are a growing democracy. This is not an emotional journey. This is about laws that have to do with the rights of citizens. So the test here is whether or not a sexual right, which is in itself being brought to question, should lead to a criminal penalty. In other words, if as a nation we say that our value systems do not support a man-to-man relationship, woman-to-woman relationship, are we also saying that the means of reforming people with that orientation is to incarcerate them? How does this position stand in accord with the Constitution? Also, the issues of advocacy, saying that a media house cannot take certain steps. How do we juxtapose that within the context of the Constitution? All these are matters that I believe that if they are tested in our Supreme Court is going to help us to bring this matter to a good rest. For me, like I've always said, it is good to legislate against same-sex relationships. It's good to legislate and even criminalize those who will entice underage, young boys who are not of age, adults who try to engage in pedophilia. Those ones, yes, because a child below 18 does not have the necessary means to take a decision. It's not an adult enough per our laws. So you cannot entice such a person. That's for that one, we agree. But if you say that when somebody is in that situation and the person must suffer a jail term, I think that there's a problem.
You see, this is where I have a problem with some of the legislators and I say MPP for no, and some of the journalists. This law, Mwedinkaka say, not everything in that law at the end of the day is supposed to be agreed on. And people like us, rational human beings, at saying, we agree. Maybe some of the things in the law is too extreme. Now, you don't make the argument to say, because somebody is practicing something that Ghana sees as wrong, that person, so Oya Bonia, they don't deserve to be punished. From Afro-Americans' argument, that means to say, so Oya Bonibia Tia Ghana Mra, you are not supposed to be sent to jail. You are supposed to be let off. Because in Ghana, you are omedi bonia, omye underage, omye overage. In Kofua, so some of them are in jail. Now, the second part of the argument omu make him say is deliberate. Unim say omo pass a bill now in 14 days. I will say Akuffo Addo sign. In 14 days, I will say Akuffo Addo a sign. Now, so I'm signing 14 days, that means to say, as we speak, it goes against the constitution. He needs to sign it. Now, because Omo Pese Akuffo Addo be signing ti, Omo mubi. Aye no say only the onye MPP ni or the assembly court. Now say afenyo marking kase eye emra na ono tena parliament emomugitu mu no. Sa emra no too vague on some things. The issue is say emra o Ghana. That is why we have an option to amend. Emra bia o Ghana bia no, we have an option to amend. Enti if today we are putting this out, even in America, LGBTQ places anti-LGBTQ, and I say when it comes to LGBTQ issue in court, every single day court, people are taking it to court and then they are amending by states be amending because ebia state to be mrano sibia LGBTQ etia na say eye open no obasa state where enya fully open sir into what is stopping him as a legislator. The first step was to pass the law. The second step is for you as a legislator, look at the law and see whether it needs amendments. In Tiabia, you pass the law no vaguely, and you feel say some of the things in there they are brushing on so many things. They are supposed to be specific. They don't fall in the LGBTQ category, and they are supposed to be taken out. Ebia LGBTQ for the some of the sanctions are too harsh. We are not supposed to do that. It is the job of the legislator to sit down and look at the bill or the law and say, no, this part needs to be amended. And you have every right to do that. So why are you stopping the president from signing? Let the president sign and then amend the law. And as time goes on, a woman you think say it is not right, because Metiano, I will not love it when somebody goes after somebody and say me them into me gay for I don't agree to that. That is why when a law is passed, there is the opening for amendment. There is the opening for us to sit down and look at the law again and see that some places we did not look at it well. And it's that people are calling for the amendment of the constitution. If people are calling for the amendment of the whole constitution, then it means the constitution now in 1992 we put together, no, we believed to say everything in the constitution was perfect. But as time went on, no, we began realizing say the constitution itself is not as perfect as we thought. In the South Ghana constitution, amendments have been made. But the constitution was passed. In 1992, you ever passed the constitution? There were some people who were against the constitution, but the constitution was passed. But as time went on, we have been able to look at the constitution, amend the constitution. Fundamentally, it was going against their rights. Those things have been rectified. So as we speak today, what is stopping you as a legislator starting to look at the bill, even though it has been passed, and making sure say Akuffo Addo sign or you come to parliament and say no, you want to amend this because you are also a legislator and you think this part and this part of the bill, it is not right. Why are they not doing it? But quickly, they are relying on the Supreme Court. Because they are buying time, because they are fooling you, because they know somewhere Jimmy. Because I'm in more parliament. Not parliament, I pass a bill. Not in power. What I'll do is say, I'll try and look into it and make sure immediately amendment is done. You have the right to do that. So why are you not following up on amendment? Why are you stopping the president from signing? Why are you telling the president, say, we need to go to court? Because Ghana, MPP, all that they do is that they use the court to suppress you. The former Attorney General sat on TV to tell Akuffo Addo to say, sign the bill. This is the former Attorney General.
If you have stated that my brother Godfrey Dami has come out to say that he will not advise the president to assent before
the bill was passed.
Before it was passed. After it was passed, I don't know whether you've heard.
You have heard from him. He says he has to see it and to advise. So the president has not received
the point that we have to make that is very clear is that it's a 275 member house. And I didn't hear any dissenting voice, at least when the question was put. So the assumption fundamentally is that all 275 MPs accepted that it becomes law. And that means that it represents the aspirations of our people. Because the 275...
Will the president assent to it, you'd say?
That I will not be able to make a definite pronouncement.
Would you advise he assents to it?
Because I'm not in a position to advise the president now because I'm not his Attorney General.
If you were.
It is his Attorney General.
You are in the position
I will say that for now... the circumstances of our times, I would say that for now, he needs to assent to it. Okay. Due to the circumstances of the time. This is
Akuffo Addo's former Attorney General. So for now, assent to it, and let us look at it again. But the MPP is hiding behind constitutionality, whether it is constitutional to pass such a bill. So now, they know it is only the Supreme Court that can interpret the Constitution. So they are going to hide behind Tokonu, who is an MPP member, to say what they want. They are playing you. Nobody is saying, the bill that was passed, it's perfect. It's not. I will not sit here and say the bill is perfect, because in this same bill, some people can be attacked, which does not make sense. In this same bill, there are loopholes in the bill, and that we all know. But why is it that we are not given the opportunity for the bill to come back to be amended? The president, you, the people who passed the bill, are preventing him from signing. We have another option. Why are we today hiding behind Supreme Court? This is Akuffo Addo. This is Bawumia. And the most interesting thing is, Mahamudu Bawumia, who is going to take over from Akuffo Addo, he has stayed away from whether he supports or he's against LGBTQ. Are you not surprised? Are you not surprised to say Bawumia, who wants to take over from Akuffo Addo? Bawumia, who says Akuffo Addo is his boss driver, he is the mate. Bawumia, who is walking in the footsteps of Akuffo Addo. Bawumia, who is saying Akuffo Addo should hand over power to him. Bawumia, who recently Akuffo Addo was in parliament saying, he is the best he has seen. Bawumia has refused to make a statement whether he believes in it or he doesn't, whether he supports it or he doesn't. Remember, Mahamudu Bawumia or Yenkremoni to say chief imam. They know Tokonu in the Supreme Court would delay it. Tokonu is the same Chief Justice. Jane Mensah was going against the law. Madam Tokonu was supposed to stop Jane Mensah from registering people illegally in district offices. What did she do? Madam Tokonu ignored the case and allowed Jane Mensah to finish the illegal process before she called the case. And this is the same Supreme Court Chief Justice they are going to use. It is a game plan. Madam Tokonu is coming to protect Akuffo Addo's crime. Ne enti kroma na tokonu we ya Jane Mensah illegally and unconstitutionally decided to register people illegally in district offices in Ghana. People filed a case before the process began. Madam Tokonu did not receive the petition, did not see to the case. She waited for Jane Mensah to finish or say Ghana or year registration boom before she called the case. And this is the same woman we all have to trust. Why should you trust Madam Tokonu? This is the same woman who sat on national television. Ayebusa said, say Ghana ni. She could not defend it because she was doing the bidding of Akuffo Addo. Today, Madam Tokonu na Oye Chief Justice Busan say, is she a Ghanaian? She cannot even explain to you whether she's a Ghanaian or not because she does not have the facts to show, say, this person is a Ghanaian or not. All that she wanted to do was to help the NPP lie to us because opposite the Ghana card didn't Ghana. So Madam Tokonu sat in front of Ghanaians and the Busan say, into Ghana card, no. Any passport, no, and then and the catcher say we need Ghana card, Ghana. She could not give a reason. Or to one only person Ghana. This woman allowed Jane Mensah. She deliberately allowed Jane Mensah to commit a crime. After she's done an offer case, no, and there you see TrumuTrumu asama by Akuffo Addo say Yemfama Tokonu ni niminyansa obetumi and solve a problem. No, this is the Tokonu we are waiting on.
My second question is about another public interest. Recently, there has been a ruling by the court.
This is about birth certificate. This is birth certificate. When Madam Tokonu was being interviewed by Parliament, the view on birth certificate, because Akuffo Addo emo try to take out birth certificates because na amon per se Ghana for be use birth certificate. Yebusan say birth certificate no or no as a Ghanaian who was born in Ghana. Adentina or no to na on person be birth certificate atum because that will show over America or birth certificate that church or American. Your birth certificate will show whether you're American or not. It's a fact. You're a hospital. You make sure say birth certificate. You know, U.S. Embassy in Ghana, they demand for your birth certificate. They don't demand for your Ghana card. Your birth certificate is your primary document that shows how you're Ghanaian. Yebusan say, "Enda uti Ghana uti yenim to become the Chief Justice." Why are you in support to say birth certificate in Akuffo Addo buying enchum? And you as a Ghanaian, what makes you identify yourself as a Ghanaian without a birth certificate? This is the response of Mamina and the year channel Emma LGBTQ issue no was solving. This is your Chief Justice. Tokonu.
My second question is about another public interest. Recently, there has been a ruling by the court. And on the 17th of July 2020, My Joy Online reported, and he was quoting our colleague, the Deputy Minister at the time of Justice, as saying that, for instance, birth certificates are not a proof of nationality. And this is a comment he made in relation to a ruling from the Supreme Court. When I take the form you fill to get a birth certificate, for instance, they call it birth registration form, Form A. B, a portion called B, particulars of mother. Under that, 9, it states a national of. So the mother has to state whether he's a Ghanaian or she's a Ghanaian or not. And then when you come to C, under that, 16, also the father, you have to state the national of the father. When you come to the certificate that is issued to the person, it is quite clearly written the nationality of the person, because the person have ticked the two boxes. The mother or the father is a Ghanaian. Therefore, he or she qualified to be a Ghanaian. So if today, the ruling, according to our colleague, is that a birth certificate is just a mere record of birth, what then is a proof of nationality in this country? And I will be very happy because I see in front of me probably the most senior people in the judiciary in this country, and I think Ghanaians who are ordinary like me may want to know, if I hold my Ghanaian passport, is it a proof of my nationality? Is my birth certificate a proof of my nationality? So I want to understand the understanding of that ruling, why it is as if a birth certificate is not a proof of nationality. Meanwhile, on the form, you have to certify clearly that you are a national before you are given a certificate as a national of this country.
Honorable Member, Honorable Chair, citizenship is a matter of law. Nationality is a matter of law. Certain jurisdictions, being born in that place makes you a citizen of that country. In our country, being born in Ghana doesn't make you a citizen of Ghana. It is your relationship with your mother. It is your mother's identity, your father's identity. It is your lineage that determines your citizenship. So, that form records, that form is actually an international requirement. We must know where everybody is born. That form assists to know your antecedents. But beyond that, your nationality is derived from the information on that form. It is not the evidence of your nationality. It is the beginning of appreciating how your nationality must be determined. It's an originating process.
So if I hold a birth certificate duly issued by a state institution in Ghana, Registrar of Births and Deaths, and it states nationality Ghanaian, are you saying that that is not enough proof of the nationality of the bearer of that certificate?
May I answer you this way? If you had an English person come and live in Ghana and have a baby in Ghana, that person would have a birth certificate. But that person's record of the parents on that birth certificate would indicate that they are not Ghanaian. So the certificate is a record of where he was born. It is not an indication of the citizenship.
I've already said that in the generation of the certificate, I quoted on birth registration form A, part B, particulars of mother, because if your mother is a Ghanaian, a child from that mother can claim.
Honorable Member, from the birth certificate, if your mother is Ghanaian, if your father is Ghanaian, then we can conclude that you are Ghanaian. But from that certificate, if your mother is not Ghanaian, your father is not Ghanaian, that certificate is a record that you are not a Ghanaian. So it is a record that allows us to, I am doing legal deduction. I don't know how else to express myself.
So can I use a birth certificate issued by the births and deaths in this country that says I'm a Ghanaian? Can I use it to prove my nationality as a Ghanaian?
The birth certificate will never tell you that you are Ghanaian. The birth certificate records where you were born and the nationality of your parents.
So the information on that certificate that says that my mother is a Ghanaian, my father is a Ghanaian, would that be sufficient to prove my nationality as a Ghanaian?
Will be sufficient to arrive at the conclusion that you are Ghanaian. It's the beginning point.
Karen, your ladyship.
This is your Chief Justice, Madam Tokonu. So today, Akuffo Addo said that the anti-LGBT bill we are going to give to her, she is going to interpret it. You see, her explanation is grammar. All that she was saying to me, with all due respect to her, it didn't make sense one bit. So if my mother, her birth certificate shows I'm a Ghanaian, and she gives birth to me today, and on that paper they write a Ghanaian, my mother will have to prove that she has a birth certificate. And when she shows that it's a birth certificate that she is a Ghanaian, what stops me from being a Ghanaian? Unless my mother goes to take a birth certificate for you to check. And if you're not sure, my mother will have to go and bring her mother's birth certificate. So how do we end this cycle of knowing who is a Ghanaian? This is the Chief Justice. She's doing legal deduction. Somewhere Jimmy, or the legal deduction. You better matter 1 hour. Oh, news file. Remember, please. Obako news file don't go as a punching. My American can't say when you know the word we show. Oh, I'm doing legal deduction. Into Bakona halitosis, Samson Ayenini. The num can Ottawa. Jimmy phobia be go. So the Chief Justice said something, and she said the birth certificate issue is quite complex, and that, you know, when your mother is Ghanaian and you are given a birth certificate, it's just a certificate, a document to show, but it does not prove. But you know, in her submission, she said something very important. She said that it was a legal deduction. Yeah, it is true. You know, when it comes to law, legal deductions are basically you understanding the issue before you legally without being practical about it. In fact, when you go into law sense, what it means is that you can look at the issue from different angles legally and professionally. So when she says she's deducting it legally, the Chief Justice was right, because he said, no, come now, you are interjecting. Wait, he will come. Come now, let me finish. Let me land. 2 hours. Now join you. So let him land. Oh, you will come in. Let him land. No. Let him land. Come now. So the legal deduction she was saying is perfect, because when you look at their background as judges, they have delved into the legal ramifications of bad judgment. So I would say that she really made a point there. Mr. Mwako, come now. Samson, thank you very much, and thank you to your guest on this show. What I can say to my brother on my far left, is my brother. I've known him for a long time. Almost I think I have petition for the same girls. Because my minister has a legal deduction. As 2 hours, ne Jimmy 4 way. And yet it's a legal deduction bang. Oh, Ghana, now Ghana, then a tre. Oh, Nkremoni. Yes. Then am I Nkremoni? It's a simple question. We are Christoni. Yes. And then am I Christoni? It's a simple question. So prove to me, why are we Nkremoni? I could tell me to my catcher when they say me Nkremoni, and they say me bomb paye 5 times a day. And now my friend prekunam a haram. Me sum Allah. And I'm Jidi say Muhammad, the messenger of Allah, peace be unto him. These are the principles I follow, and I make sure the 5 pillars of Allah, of Islam, I follow it. Uye Christoni, ane chirame, diana ma who so ye Christoni, maji Yesu, se me kra ene majenkwa. Me jidi se onyankopon, sebio yawadien, the 3 spirits, the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Me jiyomu nyinadi, minim se Yesu ye nyankopon ba, eno sa ye nyankopon, inti Yesu Christo, eno na me jini nantie di, ene nsem obe chire na me jidi se onyankopon bi wo ho, ene ne mam ye Christoni, ya bomesu. Maji Yesu se me kra na majenkwa. This is what proves se we Nkremoni, we Christoni. We Ghana ni ane. Diana ma we Ghana ni. Ya wo mi wo Ghana. Me ma me Ghana ni. Ya wo me no ya ma me kra ta ya tro so se me ma me Ghana ni ya wo mi wo Ghana nti me Ghana ni. Are you an American? Yes. Are you an American who can be a president of America? No. I am an American. I cannot be the president of America because my birthplace was Ghana. I am America by the naturalization. I naturalized to be an American. I am not American by birth. My daughters can be presidents of America because they were born in America. There are distinctions and clear-cut definitions. So what is this thing of legal deduction? Grammar. So my team just put this on. Now, the legal deduction that she used, the word, and I'm showing you this because this is the woman who is going to decide on the anti-LGBT bill. She could not clearly tell us who a Ghanaian is. Today, we are waiting for her to tell us constitutional the interpretation say anti-LGBT bill no pass. We are all waiting on Tokonu. Akuffo Addo, his responsibility, he has failed to do what? To do his responsibility. He has pushed the responsibility on a woman who cannot tell who a Ghanaian is, whether she herself is Ghanaian or not. The legal deduction that she said, now when you read legal deduction, what does it mean? A legal deduction is an amount of money that you can subtract from your taxable income from certain expenses that are related to your business, profession, or trade. Legal deductions can reduce your tax liability and increase your after-tax income. Some example of legal deductions are legal fees that are ordinary and necessary for your business operations, such as tax advice, litigation, contracts, property issues, employment issues, and intellectual property issues. Into the legal deduction that she was talking about, that is the meaning of legal deduction. It's got to do with tax deduction. There you go. Madam Tokonu, the Chief Justice, said she was doing legal deduction. This is the definition of legal deduction. And legal deduction can be in different forms. You have been deducted legally. you have been deducted legal deduction when it comes to this is what we are dealing with. This is it. These are some of the definitions of legal deduction. And if you want to push it further, Mr. P, let's push it legally and go legally into legal deduction. At least let's find other definitions, and so that people will not say may the Chief Justice abetna and I make catch and say tax related issues not all kind of during her vetting, but it's got to do with something else. When she said legal deduction, she did not mean tax related issues. She meant something that is got to with legal profession. So Mr. P, Mr. S, let us try and find something that is got to do with legal profession. In law, what is legal deduction? At least let's limit it to that. But generally, what I read to you is legal deduction when it's related to the tax. Now, if people, Mr. P, Mr. S, let's do this and finally open the phone lines. I want you to understand where we are. Now, my team will get me my team will try and find me legal deduction. Primary taps, deduction in tax. What, Mami, in fact, let me show you this. What, Mr. P, I want it to be, I want to find the basic definition. Senebaya Obinjina Baby can say, Madam Tokonu, the statement she made about legal deduction, it is the same. It is tax related. We are talking about Ghana birth certificate. Your Chief Justice to be was discussing tax related issues. She was talking about your income and how some part of your income has been deducted and which ones represent what and what represent what. She was talking about tax deduction instead of legal issues governing their birth rights. She was discussing tax related issues. Abra Yebu said about birth related issues. And these are the problems we have in Ghana. Yama Brofwada Daye and yet Ghana. This is our Chief Justice. With all due respect to her, this is her best performance because this performance, and yet to become the Chief Justice. So what I played for you to see, the best performance in a legal life. Because in all legal life, she always wanted to be a Chief Justice. So today we gave her the platform. Madam, tell us, birth certificate. She was telling you about tax related issues. So my team is saying we should use another one. Let me get the other one for us to use. I want to be fair to the madam. I don't want people to say Mashara Nabia, me person be good in the but these are facts. So now there's another one we can read, and it's got to do with legal deduction with regards to citizenship. It's a term that refers to the possibility of deducting some of the cost associated with obtaining or renouncing U.S. citizenship from your taxable income. Listen. We want to be very fair. We want you to know, say, the Chief Justice, they're not all kind of not onim they all kind of say she was just throwing grammar around to get out of the heat she was under. Somebody saying, I think, Kevin, you got the wrong end of the stick today. What you need to do is look into the word deduction. Simple. The woman said legal deduction. Boss, we are not getting anything wrong here. The woman didn't just say deduction. She said she's making a legal deduction. Now, define legal deduction. You see, that's where your problem is, my friends. That is where you people get it wrong every time, and they lie to you. Sometimes we feel we know too much. We feel that we have read something. We are smarter than everybody. With all due respect, I know you respectfully sent this message, but the woman, when she was speaking, she did not say deduction. She said she is using legal deduction, and we want to understand what legal deduction means. That's all. What sin have I committed here? She said legal deduction, and I want to read legal deduction to you. So after I read the meaning of legal deduction, then we deduct what we just read. We are making a deduction out of her legal deduction. So it is not about me getting it wrong. It's about her own word. We are trying to let you read, to know the context that she used, does it fit there? That's all. I've written law school exams before. So I am not that naive about these things. That is why I did not use only one definition. I'm trying to open up a lot of gaps so that you will not say, I am trying to squeeze this woman. No, I am trying to let you know that what she was saying, with all due respect to her, did not make sense. I'll play the video for you to watch again. Please, we all understand grammar. Let us sometimes try and make things easy and simple. She did not say marriage deduction. She did not say Kevin's deduction. She did not say political deduction. She said legal deduction. And these are the definitions of legal deduction. So what have I gotten wrong here? Or unless you have a definition for legal deduction that you use that I am not using. Legal deduction with regards to citizenship is a term that refers to the possibility of deducting some of the cost associated with obtaining or renouncing U.S. citizenship from your taxable income. However, according to IRS and various tax experts, immigration fees and legal expenses related to citizenship are generally not tax deductible unless they are incurred for business purposes or for certain specific situations. Therefore, most people who are seeking or giving up U.S. citizenship have to pay all the related fees and expenses out of their own pockets without any tax benefit. Legal deduction. So, what are you saying, my friend? What have I gotten wrong today? I am reading and telling you. So if it is legal deduction and you want to say legal interference or legal inference, we can look at legal inference. That is why I am not saying the woman said legal inference. I am saying the woman used the word legal deduction, and that is the definition that we are looking at. As far as I know, the word that came out of her mouth was legal deduction. It wasn't legal inference. If she said legal inference, we will go and look at legal inference. Do not don't be overconfident. These basic things, and mamu failure exams, stick to what is there. And this is your Chief Justice, trying in there to come and tell us whether the anti-LGBTQ bill is constitutional or unconstitutional.
My second question is about the person have ticked the two boxes. The mother or the father is a Ghanaian. Therefore, he or she qualified to be a Ghanaian. So if today the ruling, according to our colleague, is that a birth certificate is just a mere record of birth, what then is a proof of nationality in this country? And I will be very happy because I see in front of me probably the most senior people in the judiciary in this country, and I think Ghanaians who are ordinary like me may want to know, if I hold my Ghanaian passport, is it a proof of my nationality? Is my birth certificate a proof of my nationality? So I want to understand the understanding of that ruling, why it is as if a birth certificate is not a proof of nationality. Meanwhile, on the form, you will have to certify clearly that you are a national before you are given a certificate as a national of this country.
Honorable Member, Honorable Chair, citizenship is a matter of law. Nationality is a matter of law. Certain jurisdictions, being born in that place makes you a citizen of that country. In our country, being born in Ghana doesn't make you a citizen of Ghana. It is your relationship with your mother. It is your mother's identity, your father's identity. It is your lineage that determines your citizenship. So, that form records, that form is actually an international requirement. We must know where everybody is born. That form assists to know your antecedents. But beyond that, your nationality is derived from the information on that form. It is not the evidence of your nationality. It is the beginning of appreciating how your nationality must be determined. It's an originating process.
So if I hold a birth certificate duly issued by a state institution in Ghana, Registrar of Births and Deaths, and it states nationality Ghanaian, are you saying that that is not enough proof of the nationality of the bearer of that certificate?
May I answer you this way? If you had an English person come and live in Ghana and have a baby in Ghana, that person would have a birth certificate. But that person's record of the parents on that birth certificate would indicate that they are not Ghanaian. So the certificate is a record of where he was born. It is not an indication of the citizenship.
I've already said that in the generation of the certificate, I quoted on birth registration form A, part B, particulars of mother, because if your mother is a Ghanaian, a child from that mother can claim.
Honorable Member, from the birth certificate, if your mother is Ghanaian, if your father is Ghanaian, then we can conclude that you are Ghanaian. But from that certificate, if your mother is not Ghanaian, your father is not Ghanaian, that certificate is a record that you are not a Ghanaian. So it is a record that...
if your mother is a Ghanaian and your father is an American, and you are given a certificate, if you are born in Ghana today and your mother is a Ghanaian and your father is an American, are you a Ghanaian or not? Now, from her own explanation, the certificate they will give you is just a record. It is only your relationship with your mother that will prove that you are Ghanaian. Now, what will prove that your mother is a Ghanaian? Your mother will have to prove to you that she's a Ghanaian, not by mentioning that I am a Kuya or I am Fanti. She needs to prove a legal document that I am a Ghanaian, so automatically it makes my daughter or my son a Ghanaian, even though the father is American. Now, when the mother brings her birth certificate to you, do your legal deduction. Let's say we are getting it wrong. She used the legal deduction in the context. I get it. Now, when the woman brings the birth certificate, and somebody also questions the woman's birth certificate because the child's grandparents or the woman's parents, what will prove that that woman who is saying that my daughter is Ghanaian, even though my husband is American, what proves that that woman is a real Ghanaian? We will need to also check her birth certificate, whether that woman's mother and father were both Ghanaians, or one being Ghanaian and one being a foreigner. Then it keeps going back and back. So the people saying that she used the legal deduction in a context, you are getting it wrong. She wanted to run out of this. She knew she wasn't making sense. She knew she had gotten it wrong. Instead of her to admit, she was trying to defend what was indefensible. That is the fact. It's not about the legal deduction. You cannot tell me when a man stands before me, stripped naked, and tells me that he's a man, I have to use legal deduction in a context to prove that he's not a man. How? The guy is standing before me. He has a dick. He's standing before me. Everything before him shows that he is a man. Then I sit in front of you and say that this man is not a man because the legal deduction and the context I am seeing, in my eyes, he does not walk like a man. His gestures looks like a woman. So he is not a man. The guy is standing before you. He might be telling you that he's not a man because in his head or how he feels, he is not a man. But that does not mean that the guy wasn't born a man. So your legal deduction here is basically you refusing to answer the question. She was running away from the question. And Sebio, yani Ghana for no brofu, and yana bina atichidia kwa champagne way, Mr. Speaker, Akuffo Addo kwa somebody president, also send the way Jimmy. And I'm not insulting the Chief Justice. I'm trying to let you know that the woman goofed. The woman got it wrong. The woman basically knew she messed up. Instead of us to point it out to her, to know, say, what you said, with all due respect, madam, it did not make sense. We are sitting here saying that what? Legal deduction. Her explanation and everything was gerrymandering. They will select who is Ghanaian and who isn't Ghanaian. All the explanation, that was it meant. That was what it meant. They would gerrymander. They were going to gerrymander. They were going to do gerrymandering. So you look at your face and look at how you look, how your name sounds, and say whether you are Ghanaian or not. Because she's saying the child will have to have a special relationship. That child cannot be considered a Ghanaian. So you cannot be considered a Ghanaian. She was doing gerrymandering. Let me tell you, people in America, Marco School Chairman, you, Sam Mamu, somewhere in front of American Congress, do you think should be made Chief Justice in America? No. She goofed. And today in Ghana, the anti-LGBTQ bill is before this woman. What is going to happen? On one call for legal gurus, they were laughing at her. And in Yabua, who was going to hand over to her, he was laughing. I say, what is this? Somebody, Mr. S, let's not even go there. But it is clear. I wanted to make a point. They do this stuff to confuse you. It's on purpose. She used that word basically to stop the questions coming. It is a fact. She knew she goofed. She knew she got it wrong. She knew her level of intelligence when it comes to showing who is a Ghanaian. She knew that politics had clouded her mind. She could not apply the right law. It's a fact. Let's not make some people look like Jesus. They are humans. They learned this law on earth. They came to learn. Some people were smarter than them. They have gotten to the point where they also make mistakes. Let us accept to say she is not the hallmark of law in Ghana. She does not qualify to be there. From this utterances, to me, if I was a member of parliament, I wouldn't pass her because she could not define. She could not tell me, say, this person is a Ghanaian or not. That is me, my opinion. It does not mean I hate her. It does not mean I disrespect her. It means I'm being critical on her statement. Being a Chief Justice is not like being a watchman. It's not like being a president. Being a Chief Justice is like holding the heart of the nation. You can pluck it in a day and we all die. So we should not see this as a joke, as a normal interview. This is a sensitive position. 2020 after elections, this woman was on the Supreme Court bench. She went to UK to bring a black book, including Enini Yabua, to tell us how our election should be conducted. Do you think this woman, when she gets another opportunity, she will not go to Afghanistan to bring a law book in Afghanistan to come and rule on our elections? These are the things we are talking about. And the moment you are critical about these things, on these things, you say we don't respect. Why? Education has no respect to. It's about how you are able to apply it, how you are able to make it make sense. I don't hate her, but I'm making you understand your Chief Justice goofed. A Chief Justice who cannot explicitly tell you who a Ghanaian is not supposed to be there, because she herself, she does not know whether she's a Ghanaian or not. Her mother should prove to me why she's a Ghanaian, and her mother's parents are supposed to prove to us why they are real Ghanaians, and her mother's grandparents. So what is she talking about? Legal deduction, legal subtraction, legal connotations. It does not come in here. It's a straightforward question. After this short break, I'll pick calls and end today's show. You're still watching With All Due Respect extended version.
Whenever I say PENDREAM TV, PENDREAM TV, there, I see them,